This phone is over 2 years old. Can it hold up in 2023? And can it compete with the S23 Ultra that's released this year? I'm Kevin the Tech Ninja, and let's find out. On paper, this phone is pretty amazing. The beautiful 6.8-inch display with the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, the 108 megapixel camera with 100x space zoom, and the 40 megapixel selfie camera made it stand out against previous versions. Although the sides are curved more than the current Galaxy, the phone still looks like a modern day phone and is very comfortable. Although it's smaller, the S21 camera cluster does stick out, and that could be a nuisance. It looks like Samsung figured out how to blend the bigger camera sensors better on the newer phones. Now, one thing that hasn't stuck out or bulged out is that battery. Samsung has had a bad rap on battery technology, with it bubbling up over time and making phones unusable and dangerous. So far, 2 years later, this phone still works as expected with no signs of bubbling up. So everything can't be perfect, but there is a lot of good stuff to share. Now, speaking of good stuff to share, if this video is valuable to you, it will mean the world to me if you press subscribe. So how does it run? I honestly forgot that this phone was an older phone a few days in. You know, day to day, I use a lot of Twitter and Reddit, and I'm constantly using the phone to communicate and share things on social media. Now, I'm surprised to report that there's literally no change between the S21 and the S23. Even multitasking was just as fluid as expected. Now, when I stream on Twitch, I use my phone to monitor my Twitch chat, and there's absolutely no noticeable difference. Safe to say, the Snapdragon 888 chip is still fine day to day. Now, with the beautiful large screen, one of my favorite things to do is play Rocket League Swipe. I'm addicted to this game, and I will admit that this phone did feel a bit warmer when I was playing it. I played for about 30 minutes, and I did sort of feel the warmth kind of kick through a little bit, but performance was not impacted at all, and I had a pretty decent gaming session. I also ran the 20-minute wildlife stress test against the S23 Ultra to see a difference in score. The S23 had the FPS of 36 to 98, S21 Ultra had the FPS of 15 to 42, which is a significant difference. Although in my real world gaming tests for the games I did play, I didn't see that much dramatic of a change. The interesting thing is that the S21 Ultra did better on battery life, dropping only 10%, whereas the S23 dropped 13%. Also, I did check the official temps. The S23 Ultra jumped 13 degrees and the S21 jumped 16 degrees Celsius during this benchmark. So could you still use this phone day to day in 2023? So I had to take the S21 on my latest trip to New York for a few days to test it out, and I was surprised that battery life isn't what I remembered it to be. While it's quite possible the battery is dying a slow death, or it could be draining faster due to a rogue app, I was getting around 5 hours of screen on time, but I did get only around 14 hours total, which was far below expectations. Now, using the camera around the city, I was able to grab some solid day-to-day pictures like buildings, the occasional selfie, and some cool zoom lens shots. Now, this shot from LGA to City Field was a great example of using all four lenses. We have ultra-wide, wide, telephoto, and finally the 100x zoom. While the 100x zoom is a lot more clear on the S23 Ultra, not many phones can even do this, including the new iPhone, so they have to get some points there. Now, when using portrait mode, it misses often. The face is in focus, but objects like glasses or hats or anything near your face would look unnatural. Portrait video is even worse, making you look like a Picasso painting. The S23 has significantly improved since this. We're talking depth of field, the AI figuring out what's in the shot, what's not out of the shot, and also tracking. Those things are much better on the S23. Night mode photos work surprisingly well too, and I thought there'd be a major downgrade compared to the S23, but it does hold its own in the current market. Not the best, but still good. The video still holds up pretty well in 2023, giving me decent dynamic range, audio sounds pretty good, and showing those little details. So there is a significant difference between the S23 and S21 in low light, with the S23 holding the range a lot with less noise and grain. Regardless, the overall camera system shine even today. Look, this phone still runs well in comparison to the S23 Ultra, but what's the difference between the iPhone 14 and the S23? Click here to find out.